All right, everyone. Donald Trump has succeeded, it seems, at his first major diplomatic test. There was a little bit of a crisis over the whole Colombia incident. Donald Trump, during the campaign, promised that he was going to begin deporting specifically criminal, like cartel members and stuff like that, back to their home countries, and prepared flights in order to send back the first batch of Colombians who had been charged in this country with significant crimes. The idea is our taxpayers shouldn't have to be feeding and housing these people. They weren't supposed to be here to begin with. Take them back to your country. And the president of Colombia wouldn't let the flights land. And so there was a late night sesh, I guess, between Trump and the president of Colombia, in which eventually Trump's like, look, we're going to put 25% tariffs on all of your products. Your economy is going to get fucked in the ass because we are a net importer. And so, you might want to wise up, fuck around and find out. And in the end, it worked. Not only is the nation of Colombia going to repatriate these illegals into the country, but also they're supplying the planes. I guess that was one consideration, I think, because they were U.S. marked planes, I guess, or something like that. There was the kerfuffle over that. And so that got resolved fairly easily. And it took less than 48 hours to do this, by the way. Donald Trump has passed his first major diplomatic test. Even the liberal media right now is struggling to find a way to criticize this. It's sort of like with the Abraham Accords. They're like, well, okay, he sort of kind of won. It's sort of a good thing. We've got our reservations. Maybe it doesn't work in the end, but, generally speaking, we're fine with this. It's funny to watch them run themselves in circles trying to figure out a way to criticize it. I don't think that the average American has a problem with taking people convicted of significant crimes. So they're not just illegally in the country. They've done something else significant while they were here. Violent crime, some sort of significant white-collar felony, maybe embezzlement, whatever it happens to be, and they're in an orange jumpsuit now. And we send them back to the countries from whence they came because we don't need to be paying for them for years and years at a time. It is far cheaper to book a plane and fly them back to their home country, as long as those countries are being cooperative. Trump appears to be using the threat of tariffs more than he intends to actually use tariffs. That appears to be the goal. It's effectively, look, our economy is massive. We have massive military and diplomatic power. Cooperate with us. We're not asking for that much. It's completely reasonable for us to do what we're doing right now, and it is. It's totally reasonable to expect the repatriation of prisoners in the United States to their home countries, where instead of for the next 20 years, we're feeding and housing at great public expense an individual, instead we spend $1,000 to put them on a plane. It makes an awful lot more sense economically now, doesn't it? It also will reduce the crime rate in the United States because if they are kicked back across a border that is actually guarded, the recidivism rate will be much lower because they probably won't get back in the country again. The U.S. Marines are flying vertibirds over the border right now. You'd be crazy to try to cross in those locations. Personally, I think they should run sorties with A-10s. Then nobody would come across the border. If they did, they'd get vaporized. He succeeded. This is a major foreign policy success. And it sets the stage for an administration. Again, we're only a week into the administration. It sets the stage for, I think, a pretty good time for the next 4 years. I suspect that Donald Trump, being the workhorse that he has been over just a single week, we've got to talk about the passing of back pay for soldiers that didn't take the jab and got they got kicked out of the U.S. military. That'll have to be a New Tech exclusive, of course, because we have to mince words if it's a YouTube video. I can be jovial and gleeful about it as a New Tech exclusive because only YouTube has a policy against certain medical topics and certain opinions about them. I think some major creator just got banned, actually, under the medical disinfo policy, or something like that. I saw that on a tweet last night, but I didn't look into it any further. This is a major success. Colombia is not an entirely backwards nation. It's got a relatively large economy. A lot of it's like coffee exports and cocaine exports, by the way. Yes, indeed. The CIA probably not very happy right now, but it's pretty funny. Because a lot of, originally when this began, some of the liberal commentators came out and said, ha ha ha, nobody's going to cooperate with little Donald and stuff like that. And it didn't really take that long for him to back Colombia into a corner, now did it? That's because the U.S. is a very large economy, and it's a net importer with many other nations. If those nations are exporting a shit ton of goods to the United States, and that's like one of their major markets, and you say, well, we're going to tariff your goods. Therefore, domestic products will compete with your goods. They'll suddenly be cheaper, and nobody's going to want to buy your shit. Well, then you lose money. And money makes the world go round, now doesn't it? So it would behoove other countries to take that in mind and say, like, you know, if the request is reasonable, you know, just take back your prisoners. They're your people. They're illegally in the country, and they're gobbling up resources and overcrowding prisons, by the way, leading to worse conditions there. And just take them back. And then sweeten the deal, of course. Get some investment going in Colombia, and, you know, sweeten the deal. And we make money, they make money, everyone's happy. That's the way to do it. That's what I've suggested over and over with Panama. Tell them, we'll pay off your goddamn national debt. It'll be cheaper in the long run, trust me, even though it sounds counterintuitive. We'll build a third lock, maybe a fourth one on the Panama Canal, but you've got to give us back that thin zone along the canal and allow us to build a base and stop taxing our ships. And tax everyone else at 1 or 2% more. It'll make up the difference for you. You no longer have debt, and you know, kick out the Chinese presence because we're tired of this shit. That's all you got to do. Sweeten the deal. With Greenland, if they decide to leave Denmark, well, we can unload huge amounts of investment into Greenland. U.S. firms that deal with minerals and fuel and stuff like that make money hand over fist. Right in Greenland's not part of the European continent anyway. And the people of Greenland, of which there are only 55,000, again, the same population of this fucking county, make, you know, twice as much wealth. Who loses? Other than maybe Denmark, I suppose. They're not exactly going to go to war over it. Donald Trump has had a series of successes. This is the first time he's been seriously tested in a diplomatic crisis, though. And he passed the sniff test. Can you imagine Joe Biden, if he had engaged in this, can you imagine him within 48 hours being able to negotiate a deal? I don't think so. If Harris had become president, there wouldn't be any deportations at all. If anything, we'd be sending planes in there to import people, probably. Come all ye faithful, your huddled masses and shit like that. Oh, you committed several murders? That's okay. I'm sure I don't see a murderer, I see a doctor. I don't see a serial rapist, I see a lawyer in training. That's basically the mentality of the leftoids. It's really sad when you think about it, how stupid they are. That's about all. Peace out.